Three people walked into the same bank branch last Tuesday. The first had $400 left in her account. She had been avoiding this visit for 3 weeks. The second had $85,000 in savings. He walked in to ask about a mortgage rate. The third had $4.2 million under management there. The branch manager came out personally to greet him before he even reached the desk. Now, everyone already made that video. How the bank treats each person differently. The red carpet, the fees, the hidden menus of the financial system. You have seen it. This video is about something nobody covered. What was happening inside each of their brains. Because the bank's behavior is interesting. But the brain's behavior, that is the part that actually changes your life. What you feel when you walk into a bank. What your nervous system does when the teller asks your balance. What your threat detection system does when someone in a suit looks at your account. All of that is neuroscience. And all of it is different depending on exactly how much money you have. I am here to take you through every level. Not what the bank does to you, what your brain does to you, and what you can actually do about it. Level 1. You have somewhere between $0 and $500 in your account. Maybe you are overdrawn. Here is what your brain is doing when you walk into a bank at this level. And I need you to understand, this is not metaphor. This is measurable neurological activity. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, fires at elevated baseline levels before you even open the door. Studies on financial stress show that people in acute financial scarcity display cortisol levels comparable to someone experiencing a moderate physical threat. Your body is in low-grade fight or flight, inside a bank. Then there is the shame response. Shame is processed in the anterior insula and the anterior cingulate cortex, the same regions activated by physical pain. When a teller glances at your balance, or a fee posts on your account, or someone behind you in line can see your screen, your brain processes that potential social exposure as an injury, not metaphorically, neurologically. This is why people at level 1 avoid opening bank statements, why they do not answer calls from unknown numbers, why they will walk 3 extra blocks to use an ATM where nobody they know might see them. It is not denial. It is a pain avoidance response. The brain is protecting you from what it processes as a wound. And here is the devastating part. That cortisol spike, that cognitive load of financial stress, it measurably reduces prefrontal cortex capacity, the part of your brain responsible for planning, impulse control, and rational decision-making, physically impaired, not by stupidity, by stress chemistry. A famous study out of Harvard and Princeton put it plainly. Financial scarcity consumes cognitive bandwidth, equivalent to a 13-point drop in IQ. Not because people with less money are less intelligent, because a brain under scarcity threat is running so many background stress processes that there is simply less processing power left for financial decisions. Level 1 is not just a bank balance, it is a neurological state. Level 2. You have somewhere between $500 and $10,000. You are not in crisis, but your brain does not fully believe that yet. This is the level of hypervigilance, and it is where most people in developed countries actually live. Here is the specific neural signature of this level. The threat detection system is still elevated, but now it is calibrated to social cues rather than survival cues. You are not worried about whether you can eat. You are worried about what people think of your financial status. And your brain is scanning every single banking interaction for evidence of judgment. Watch what happens at this level when someone asks for a fee waiver. That simple sentence, "Can you waive that $35 fee?" activates the same anterior cingulate cortex circuitry that fires during social rejection. Your brain models it as, I am about to ask someone to confirm that I am in a subordinate financial position. The potential rejection carries social threat weight that is completely disproportionate to the $35 at stake. This is why most people do not ask. Studies show fewer than 20% of people at this wealth tier ever request fee waivers, even though banks grant them routinely to anyone who asks with confidence. The people who lose are not the ones who were told no. They are the ones who never asked, because their amygdala processed the request as too socially dangerous. The annual cost of this neurological tax. Researchers estimate the average person in this tier loses between $200 and $450 per year in fees they never challenged. Not because they could not fight it, because their threat system told them not to try. There is also something called hypervigilant monitoring at this level, obsessively checking account balances, sometimes multiple times per day, in a pattern that looks like financial responsibility, but is functionally anxiety behavior. The checking does not produce calm. It produces momentary relief, followed by the same anxiety 30 minutes later. The brain is stuck in a surveillance loop it cannot exit, because the underlying threat signal never turns off. Level 3. $10,000 to $100,000. This is the tier where something genuinely interesting happens in the brain, and it is mostly a trap. For the first time, the cortisol response in banking environments drops to near normal. Your amygdala stops treating a trip to the bank as a social threat event. You feel, as people at this level often describe it, financially legitimate, like you belong there. And that feeling is real, but it generates a brand new cognitive vulnerability: deference bias toward financial authority. Here is what that looks like in practice. At level 3, people are far more likely to accept a banker's product recommendation without independent research, far more likely to sign up for services they do not need: premium checking accounts, insurance add-ons, investment products with high management fees, because the brain has made a critical association. The banker approved of me. Therefore, following the banker's advice maintains that approval. This is pure social neuroscience. The prefrontal cortex, finally freed from the baseline threat of scarcity, re-engages with planning. But it is still operating within a social hierarchy frame, where the banker holds more status authority. You are not analyzing the product. You are maintaining the relationship that made you feel like you belong. The financial industry understands this implicitly. Private banks do not reveal their fee structures until you ask specifically. Wealth managers pitch comprehensive planning in the same meeting where they establish personal rapport. The warmth is real, but it is also a conversion mechanism. And at level 3, your brain is neurologically primed to respond to it. The people who escape this trap are the ones who learn to mentally separate the social warmth of the interaction from the financial logic of the product, which requires an active prefrontal override of the social reward system. Most people never develop it at this tier. They just feel good about their banker and quietly lose 1.5 to 2% of their portfolio every single year in fees they could have eliminated. Level 4. $100,000